Okay, today we're starting page 73, the Deep Ecology Platform. Deep ecologists proposed an 8-point platform to facilitate deeper conversation around the ecological crises in environmental philosophy and action. This platform has been published multiple times with slight variations in Duvall and Sessions' 1985 seminal text, online by the Foundation for Deep Ecology, and by Arnie Ness, the philosopher who coined the term deep ecology. The version shared here is in Ness's 2005 article and is modified from the original 1984 version. 1. The flourishing of human and non-human life on Earth has inherent value. The value of non-human life forms is independent of the usefulness of the non-human world for human purposes. Richness and diversity of life forms are also values in themselves and contribute to the flourishing of human and non-human life on Earth. Humans have no right to reduce this richness and diversity except to satisfy vital needs. The flourishing of human life and cultures is compatible with a sustainable decrease in human population. The flourishing of non-human life requires such a decrease. Present human interference with the non-human world is excessive, and the situation is rapidly worsening. In view of the foregoing points, policies must be changed. The changes in policies affect basic economic, technological, and ideological structures. The resulting state of affairs will be deeply different from the present and make possible a more joyful experience of the connectedness of all things. 7. The ideological change is mainly that of appreciating life quality, dwelling in situations of inherent value, rather than adhering to an increasingly higher standard of living. There will be a profound awareness of the difference between big and great. Those who subscribe to the foregoing points have an obligation, directly or indirectly, to participate in an attempt to implement the necessary changes. Okay, end of that quote. Though a full exposition would be impossible here, each point of the platform deserves some clarification within the context of music education. It seems like I make an attempt of clarifying everything here. I didn't realize this section was so long. Point 1 expresses the core, deep ecological premise, that of inherent intrinsic value. It is the primary challenge of deep ecology that will be explored in this chapter. Point 2 seems to parallel scholarship in ethnomusicology and praxial music education that finds value in understanding and performing various musics. As Rogalski said, all musics have social value or they wouldn't exist. The deep ecological focus on diversity contributing to flourishing might enrich some educators' approach to spiritual values. According to Jorgensen, constructed within the frameworks of particular social and cultural contexts rather than universally constructed and mandated. Diversity can become a call to preserve various musical traditions and inspired by deep ecology to extend that preservation to the musicking of non-human beings. This is especially important during the Sixth Great Extinction. Point 3 proposes the concept of vital needs. This was conceptualized as deliberately vague to allow for considerable latitude in judgment, according to Ness. Many music educators have a lot of autonomy when it comes to the classroom purchases. A music educator should apply vital needs when determining whether to purchase a new technology for his or her classroom. New devices present benefits and challenges for the eco-literate pedagogue because educational institutions produce too much waste, an ecological crisis. Based on observation of vital needs of the students, the amount and distinctiveness of use a new device has the opportunity to facilitate, and the likely longevity should be determined by the teacher who best knows his or her students' school and community needs. As Drengson observed in 1995, supporters of deep ecology movement humbly recognize human ignorance and the need for cautious development of technology, end quote. To exemplify, teachers who are unlikely to use a wide range of applications integrated with a diverse approach to pedagogy should not purchase iPads for their students, especially since iPads have such a limited longevity. New models are released every year. Few are recycled, and those that are recycled often present health hazards to people in the two-thirds world where recycling occurs. But other teachers might make extensive use of the same tool to contribute to students' vital needs. Point 4 deals with human population, which has little application to eco-literate music pedagogy. Broadly, though, Point 4 envisions a reconceptualization of families. Increased ecological awareness, even only becoming conscious of how much land is required to feed a family, can lead to more simple living in smaller families. Point 5 recognizes the challenges facing humanity, including music teachers and learners. Duvall Sessions recognize, quote, excessive human intervention in natural processes has led other species to near extinction. For deep ecologists, the balance has long since been tipped in favor of humans. Now we must shift the balance back to protect the habitat of other species, end quote. Music educators who recognize this challenge have a responsibility to cultivate an appreciation for wilderness to the fullest extent. Music is able to be central to joyful experience that recognizes interconnectedness of human life, non-human life, and nature as recommended in Point 6. Interconnectedness is valued in Sass Coleman's 1920s and 1940s music education philosophy. Through musicking, we recognize relationships that can change the values that underline our political and other social actions. Musicking with recorded animal songs, perhaps modeling Paul Winter's Earth music in classroom, can provide a way to change the way we value non-human musics and lives. According to Deep Ecology's best-known poet, Gary Snyder, quote, nature happens, culture happens, somewhere, end quote. Students can improvise with recordings of whales or wolves or birds and can cultivate their musicianship concurrent with their sonic place consciousness and increase how much they value local non-human musicers. For music educators, Point 7 seems connected to Points 3 and 5. When we take students outside to music, we cultivate dwelling in situations of inherent value, rather than institutionalized human-made spaces. Also, when we choose quality over quantity, instead of adopting every technology, we cultivate a more sophisticated view of technology. Climate change activist Bill McKibben identified this type of sophistication in Enough, where he uses the Amish practice of adopting and refusing new technologies based on a firm set of values and how they affect the quality of the community living as a sophisticated approach to technology, without necessarily adopting Amish values. Music educators can learn from the sophisticated approach to develop a set of rules to guide when to adopt and when to say enough. Point 8 acknowledges that music educators who recognize the intrinsic value of non-human musics in life have a responsibility to act. This is why Deep Ecology has been recognized as a radical and activist philosophy. Earth First has been the most visible Deep Ecology-infused organization, but other organizations, including Sierra Club and 350.org, have, through various action, acted in a way consistent with Deep Ecology. Nest says, quote, the platform of Deep Ecology movement can be grounded in religion or philosophy, including ethics. It can be said to be derived from these fundaments, end quote. Because the platform is a platform and not a root cause or fundament, in the next part of the chapter, I will use two stories to construct a fundamental reasoning for adopting a platform and a generalized deep ecological stance. This argument is rooted in a certain type of Catholicism. Illich drew from Christian anarchist scholarship, and the ecofeminist view of the unjust treatment of women parallels the unjust domination of the environment in patriarchal societies. Thus, this argument represents a root for ecocentric valuing in music education and not the root for all peoples in all places. In other words, this provides a model for constructing your own education on soil. The spiritual facets of this root will be clarified in Chapter 5, Spiritual Praxis. Okay, so we're going to stop right there for now and continue with that chapter next time in a third part. So that was one long section, and it's amazing that this platform developed in the early 1980s, right, by Ness and then shared in Duvall Sessions and then elsewhere. still has relevance today. It says how little we've done to improve our ecological consciousness, not just in music education, but just as humans in our work, in our economy. Our economy is so destructive of the planet. And sometimes even our religion, though, with certainly the Catholic Church has made leaps and bounds in that front, first by a series of speeches given by Pope Benedict, and then institutionalized in two different, one encyclical and then a follow-up by Pope Francis. So we're moving forward, and our field is even publishing more on it. And so there are fewer ecological yahoos today than there were even 10 years ago when I was doing this book, writing this book. And that's a good thing, right? Even Penn State, my alma mater, has somebody on campus who's ecologically literate, Pepe. And yeah, isn't it a wonderful thing? You know, we're getting around. Our roots are spreading. Have a great day.